Okay, as you guys can see, we're now at a nice little park location. I just wanted to come on here and get this knock this video out the park. For you guys. I mean, just get comfortable here. It's so calm, it's so peaceful over here. Um, Always switching locations. I cannot be in one location ever. But anyways, yeah. Let me kind of get straight in. Let me kind of just get straight right into it. The reason why you clicked on this video, you seen the title, right? Hold on, guys. All right, just gonna make sure I have my notes pulled up before I start rambling on, making sure I cover all my points. But yeah, so pricing is the first mistake that's killing your margins. I had this happen to one of the guys that I'm working with right now. Could have made a lot more money, but really undervalued and undercut the pricing on his services, and really thought like, oh, if I lower my prices, that will help me close the deal. No, no, that won't. You're just killing your margins, right? That's all you're doing, and you don't even know it. You think you're just doing them a favor. Yeah, well, yeah, it could be a favor if they're in that type of situation, but most of these guys, they don't mind spending a couple extra $1,000 just to make sure the job is done right and properly, right? And you don't want to undervalue your service. Like, you're putting all of your hard-earned time into that, making sure it's proper. So you want to get paid for what you do properly, right? Um, so yeah, you guys are losing out on money because of that. So last time, when I sat down with this guy, he was making around 500K a year in revenue. He thought he was doing great. That's fine. I asked him, what's your actual, profit per job? This guy had no idea, right? He could tell me his average price for per job, but he really couldn't even tell me his profit, right? So we got to sit down. I had to do the math with him, and his actual profit per job was 2.1K profit for himself. That's what he was taking home, right? His competitors were making around 5K profit per job, same size project, but he was leaving out on 2.9K on the table. Over a year, that's around 70K profit he could have kept himself. And right now I'm breaking this down for you guys. This is because he didn't know, and that's fine. He didn't know, right? But you guys need to make sure you're not leaving out extra money on the table, right? And that's that's a lot of I see it happen a lot, honestly. I see it happen a lot. When most contractors, what they do when they price a job, they look at the job, they think about, how much it's worth, they think about what their competitors are charging, and they add just a little extra for profit, and then they send a quote, right? Once they, use a formula that's, you know, heard three times material or 20% profit margins or some ballpark number, none of that is actually based on actual numbers, right? They don't know. So they don't really know how much labor it actually costs per hour when you factor in taxes, insurance, benefits, downtime, how much the job actually takes, which jobs are profitable and which jobs you shouldn't be taking on and that aren't that profitable. They're low leverage. Why some jobs feel easy but they're low margin. Why they're not as making as much money as they should be making. Right? They're basically flying blind out here. And the reason they're flying blind is because they're pricing all of their jobs wrong, right? Sometimes it's too high, so they're losing deals to competitors, or sometimes it's too low and it's eating up all the costs and they're not making any money, right? So I work with this guy who thought his profit margins were around 30%. It turns out they were at 12%, right? He was leaving money out on the table on every single damn job, bro. Every single damn job. And he didn't know why he wasn't making more money, right? His pipeline was full of leads, right? He was fine. He was getting next, but he could have been making so much more, and he could have, like, he just left out so much more on the table, right? So this is how most contractors, price your stuff, right? So this is how you guys mainly, price your stuff, and I mean most, right? Let's just say like roofing company, 3-man crew. The job is 2,000 square foot roof replacement. What they think? Okay, materials $4,000. Labor for 5 guys. Labor for 5 days for 3 guys. Okay, then the competitor is charging like 15K. Okay, so we're just gonna charge 14K, undercut them and move on. Quote them 14K. Think their margins around 10K. What's actually happening? Okay, yeah, materials 4K. Cool. Who's texting me right now? No, sure. Materials 4K. Labor 5 days, 3 guys. That's around what 3K. You're paying out. But wait, $25 is not your actual cost, right? Your actual cost is 25 an hour plus payroll taxes plus insurance plus equipment plus your truck, your fuel, driving there, driving back, all of that stuff. Real labor cost per hour would be around 45 to 50, not 25, right? And that across 5 days is around, so if you do 5 days and 3 guys times 40 hours times 50, that's around $30,000. Yikes, right? So, that doesn't make sense. You're probably like, oh, that doesn't make sense. The labor can't be 30K if they're only working for 5 days. Here's what you guys are missing. Those 3 guys don't work every single day on this job. They have, downtime between jobs, weather delays, travel, just random shit, sick days, slow season. Your real labor cost is going to get 3 guys for 5 focused days is way higher than, you know, 25 an hour. It's actually like annual payroll, and then productive working hours times hours spent on his job. So let's just do real math, right? So a crew of 3 guys, you put him on a base payroll, they make around $150,000 per year, and then you give him taxes plus insurance plus benefits. That's an extra 45K per year. So that's an annual labor cost around 195K per year, right? And then predictable hours, actual billable work, not downtime. So these guys work 240 hours of, these guys work 240 days, right? 240 days for 8 hours. That's like 1.9K hours around there. But only 60% of that is actually billable. So those are productive hours. So productive hours out of the 1.9K, times that by 0.60 equals 1,000 hours, 152 hours divided by years, right? So the real cost per labor, just skip all the bullshit. Yeah, you guys don't want to see the math, but to skip all the bullshit, it's around $170 per hour. Not $25 per hour. $170 per hour, right? So if you redo this job, materials 4,000, labor for 5 days, 3 guys, 40 hours, that's $170 per hour. That's 100K at least. Okay, but wait, that's too high. Dude, I keep getting texts. You know, Whatever, that's too high. It doesn't match your reality. You know, Here's where it gets real. These 3 guys are on your payroll every day. You're paying them. They're on this job or another job. So the marginal cost of this job isn't the full like 120,000, but the actual cost is related to how many jobs you can do with these 3 guys. So real world math, right? Your 3 guy, your 3 guy crew does about 8 to 10 roofs per year at 15K each. That's 150K in revenue. The actual cost to have that crew, payroll, taxes, insurance is around $195,000, right? You're losing money. You should be doing 12 to 15 roofs to make profit, right? So real pricing math right here. So let me do this more simply so it makes sense. Again, because I know that was just a bunch of fucking numbers thrown at you guys. But again, you're a roofing contractor with a 3-man crew, payroll 150K, with insurance, taxes, benefits 45K, truck equipment insurance, that's another 15K, tools, safety gears 3K, materials, waste, overhead is 5K, marketing, let's just say you're doing that, right? Spending money on Angie's or whatever the hell you're doing, put like 10K, right? Total annual cost for all of that is like around 228,000. Yeah. So now to even break even for that, you need to generate $228,000 in profit or more to cover it. Now, how many roofs can a 3-man crew do per year, right? An average roof takes around 4 to 5 days, let's just say 6 days. You're working 250 days a year with downtime, weather, all that shit. So a realistic time span between that is 180 days for the year. Let's just say you do at 5 days, 5 days per roof you spend. So 180 divided by 5, that's like 36 roofs per year you do. But realistically, let's just say, bad weather, gaps in between jobs, inspections, all that stuff. Let's just say you drop it down. You'll do about 12 to 5 roofs per year with a 3-man crew. So to even break even on that $228,000 cost per roof, you will need at least, divide that by 12 roofs. You need 19K per roof minimum. That's before profit. So if you want a 20% profit margins on those roofs, you times 20% profit margin. So you do 19,000 times 1.2, which is 22.8K per roof. But what are you charging? You're charging around 14 or 15K per roof. You're losing money on every roof, right? You guys are losing money on every goddamn roof you do. Let me just double check because my phone keeps blowing up, right? And all this because you don't know that you keep taking more jobs. You keep taking on more jobs and thinking volume will fix it, but spoiler alert, it won't, bro. And you guys will just go deeper and deeper down the hole. So this is why this matters, right? This is the pricing mistake that's basically killing most of you guys right now, and you guys don't actually know their actual cost per job. So they price it based on what your competitors charge, what they think the job is worth, what their gut is feeling, how bad do they need the work, right? Not based on what it actually costs them to do the job, right? So here's what happens. A contractor thinks 15K is a market rate for a roof, but he doesn't know his break even is around 19K, so he charges quotes 15K, he wins some jobs because he's cheap. He's losing money on every single one, and he's wondering why he's not making that much money, right? Meanwhile, his competitors, her break even is 19K, but knows her target profit is around 25%, quotes $24,000, loses some jobs because she's expensive, but does every job she does is a win because it's highly profitable, right? She's doing fewer jobs, but she's making more money. The difference is she knows her numbers and he doesn't. Most contractors are like the first guys. You guys don't even actually know your numbers, right? You guys are flying blind, leaving money on the table and wondering why you're not actually generating that much money as you thought you should be generating, right? So that's just the real bad cost of pricing your shit wrong. So guys, just fix it. Calculate your annual cost, calculate how much it's gonna realistic annual job cost, right? Calculate all that shit, and add your target profit margins in there. Calculate your break even per job, and then price your shit accordingly. It's that simple, right? And be selective of the people that you work with. This is why I always say quality leads versus quantity of leads, because same thing with the jobs, right? It's that simple. So I'm gonna keep this video super short because I do have a bunch of calls I have to come up. I'm running a little bit late. I didn't think I was gonna run this late, but I kind of went here on a tangent. But with that being said, I'm gonna drop this video soon. I'm gonna drop another one as well. I think I have 2 coming up. So yeah, if y'all like this stuff, shoot me a text, shoot me a DM. If you have any video topics you want me to cover, if you wanna hop on a meeting with one of us, and see what we can do for your business, and hop in and see what changes we can make, and create an action plan for you. And if you have anything you're struggling with, lead wise and all of that stuff, go ahead and book a call with me, and we'll see what we can do for you guys. Take care.